I just want to thank everybody for coming to my own corner of YouTube and Twitch. Um, as you guys can see, today's discussion is not going to be one of the usual take, which is basically talking about movies and other media materials that is out there. Today, we witnessed the death of a very young lady. I think she was 14 or 15 or so. And the way it is, let's just be frank, is that we lost one of our own daughters, um, regardless of color, is one of our own children. Um, so let's be frank about this situation. It's quite unfair that a lady who has barely started her journey in life uh, had to cut short her journey in order to, you know, seek a new path, you know. And I just want to just say it's quite an unfortunate situation. But we have to actually look at what happened with this situation, with the Michaela shooting, Makia Bryant shooting. Now, a lot of people, when this first came out, a lot of people jumped on this in an effort to simply say, you know what, our less melanated brothers are killing us. And for me, and other people who had some sense, who still believe in the American law, which says innocent until proven guilty. And for me, I like to take my time to put out an opinion until I understand the temperature, concerning this subject. It's been over 3 days now since this incident occurred, and I think that I have enough information on the subject area in order to cast an opinion. The rest will be left to the court of law or to the individuals who are handling this matter. I'm going to start out by saying that, in my personal opinion, this was a good shooting. A good shooting in the sense that the officer was trying to stop the death of another lady. But the thing about it is this, and I've noticed this a lot, especially in the black community. When you have black on black crime, nobody wants to speak about it. Oh, they make it seem like as if it's okay for black people to kill black people. It's not okay for anybody to kill anybody. I think not too long ago we had an incident whereby a black 13-year-old girl was stabbed to death by another 13-year-old girl. Black also. I mean, we have to, as a community, I know that the community is at this point almost non-existent, but we as a community must come together to ask ourselves, what are some of the factors that are leading to some of this unnecessary violence? I can simply say it's one thing though. It's the breakdown of the family. It's the inability of so many women in our own present country to be able to take criticism properly. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to be leaders. So if everybody's a leader, then who is the follower? People forget that many of the times you have to learn how to follow properly in order for you to be a good leader. Well, am I saying this? I'm simply saying that this situation occurred because of lack of proper leadership. You heard me. Lack of proper leadership. If you look at everything that is going on in this whole, like if you had the opportunity to watch the clips that have been shown, and you've taken time to watch everything in detail, you find out that that not only is leadership missing in this home, that means the foster mother was not able to control her children. The father that was there was not able to control his own child. You know, it's quite unfortunate. They could not tell this little girl to go clean her room, and she'll keep quiet and say, "Yes, mom, let me clean my room." Or, "Yes, yes, let me clean my room." You're right. You have a point. No. It's always about, "You can't tell me what to do." As parents, it's very, very important for us to raise our own children, discipline our own children, and make sure that we do not bring in any individual from the outside to settle our problems. It's very important. We must maintain a stronghold in our own home. We must maintain a solid structure that teaches our children proper discipline, teaches our children a discipline of both emotion and critical thinking in order to navigate this very dangerous life that we have nowadays. So, in my personal opinion, I'm going to put this one on the parents for not controlling this child. I'm going to also put this one on the male authority that was around there who failed to be a man by controlling the fight and making sure that these two ladies did not get out of hand. But most importantly, I'm going to blame these children for not looking within themselves and asking themselves, if I act on what is currently pushing me right now, what do I stand to lose? You see, many times when people engage in activities like this, they're not thinking about the consequences. They don't want to think about it. And many women that I know are very impulsive individuals. They act first and they think later. It's our responsibility as a community to help to avoid this kind of situation. I think any kind of situation in our own community that involves getting law enforcement into our own problems is quite unfortunate. Anytime that another individual from somewhere else has to come in order to maintain peace and order in our own homes, that is a problem. Makia wouldn't have lost her life if she was raised properly. If she had also considered what she'll be losing as a result of the actions that she's about to take. You know, while watching the clip, I noticed that as the officer came towards that area, that was when certain behavior started taking place. I felt that some ladies wanted to act stupid because they saw the police officer, so they wanted to just speak anyhow. Because they felt that with the police officer being present, the other individual is going to be on their best behavior. So at that point, they can act anyhow. You see, this is one of the behaviors that a lot of women nowadays are taking. They forget many of the times the threat of violence just because they see a man around, a man of authority around. They feel that the possibility of threat is always over. You know, I think this should be a reminder to a lot of women that if another woman can stab you to death in this manner, what more of a man when he loses control of himself? You know? So this is actually, I believe, a couple of underlying factors that's affecting our community. And the funny thing about it is that it's going to get worse as we go on. You know? It's going to get worse. Women are going to lack the ability to behave properly, even in the midst of authority, because they're not being raised properly. Many of the times, I can't really fault the mother because the mother has to work at least two jobs just to keep food on the table. She barely has time to raise a child. Anyway, everyone has to be, at the end of the day, accountable for their own actions. We saw what the old man was doing by kicking the other woman who had fallen to the floor on the head. A very disgusting situation. I felt maybe he had a bone to pick. You know, that's what I got from what I saw. He perhaps had a bone to pick. You know, kicking her while she's down. I mean, it's insulting. Well, let's go ahead and get to the meat and potato of why we're here. The main reason is for that officer. I think the officer did what he had to do with the little he had on his plate. You know, a lot of people will say that he shouldn't have shot the girl, he should have shot towards the sky. He could have warned her. And I say to them, when was the last time you were ever in a fight? Really? When was the last time you were ever in a fight? A real fight? Because the last time I checked, I don't think it's possible for you to hear anybody or even loud sounds that are around you when you're in the middle of a fight. When you're fighting for your life, your mind is not going left and right, here and there. It's almost as if you're blinded, both visually and auditory, to what's going on around you, except the person of interest that you want to inflict harm on. I think Makia Bryant was in the middle of all of this. No amount of gunshot, no amount of drop that weapon, freeze, or whatever it is that's going to stop her. No. Her mind was made up. She was going to stab that lady. Because that woman was the object of her frustration. And let me be frank. For that pain girl to get her wrath means that pain girl may have been bullying her to some degree for some time now. Be it even mentally. For her to pick up a knife, it means one thing. That means she felt threatened by them to have done that. It's not just, oh, I just want to pick up a knife because. You know? So, in my personal opinion, I'm gonna be frank with you guys and say this. I personally believe that the shooting was justified, no matter how people want to talk about this situation, I think it was justified. This was a good shooting. Fortunately, it claimed a life. There was no amount of talking this out. There was no way to get it out. This is something that may have been coming a long time ago, and uh, the straw that broke the camel's back just happened on this day, and then it was over. She was not going to have none of this nonsense. She refused to be a victim to certain things. Who knows what the situation is? But I can tell you, when somebody is so dedicated to stab you to death, it means many of the times that that other person may have been the object of their own frustration. Many of the time, I see this Makia's behavior as someone who's been bullied. You know, so like I said, it's a combination of so many things. I'm not trying to put in what is in the system or what I have seen, but I can infer to some degree that something else is going on for her to go for a knife. It just meant that maybe she was just tired of the whole situation with them. You know. So, in my personal opinion, I'm going to say this again. I think the police officer did what he could at that moment. I don't think anybody should be holding on to the police officer saying that he did a bad thing here. Nobody should open their mouth and say anything else other than thank you for saving the other woman's life. You know, sometimes when you don't have anywhere else to go, you might want to fight. You know, that's what I always say to people: be fearful of everybody around you, even the small children. You should be fearful of them. Why? Because when pushed to the edge, even a wounded dog still has fight in them. When pushed to the edge, people will go to whatever length to destroy what it is that is causing them fear. And in this situation, when I look at it, I think this pink girl and her other cohort may have been causing her fear for her to go towards this length of trying to stab them and saying, "Step out of my way, step out of my way." That's what I see here. You know. By the way, that's all I have to say. I think that's going to be me signing out. Like I said earlier on, it's quite an unfortunate situation that this little girl had to lose her life to this, but something had to give sooner or later. Unfortunately, she had to give her own life in order to, in order for her to attempt to get the results that she was looking for. I'm not here to make her a martyr. I'm not here to make her a saint. I know there is more uh, than what is being said. And I won't fault them sometimes for keeping it quiet because at the end of the day, this is a family that sometimes want to maintain their own privacy. They may have learned from this situation and maybe taking steps in order to improve uh, their own situation so that this kind of situation doesn't occur again. Alright guys, it's me signing out. 5 minutes or less media review. You guys stay hydrated, stay safe. Remember to always wear your PPE. Cheers guys. Bye.